Welcome to Shreveport Bossier Local Lens, the podcast dedicated to sharing the stories of the people making a difference in the Shreveport Bossier community. Hosted by Jeremy Sutton, each episode dives deep into inspiring conversations with local leaders, creators, and change makers who bring unique perspectives and positive impact to our area. Hey everybody, welcome to the Shreveport Bossier Local Lens podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Sutton. I'm with my friend, PA Elyse Kowalewski, and we're going to be talking about peptides, everything longevity center here in Shreveport. So Elise, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to have a conversation with you.
So let's talk about peptides. So I think peptides is kind of the buzzword right now.
Yeah.
And everything I'm seeing is they're amazing.
Yes.
And so tell me about them. What are they?
Yeah. So peptides are, kind of up and coming, but they've been around for a really long time. It's just becoming more and more, kind of media focused, I guess, and a lot of talk about it, buzz about it, I guess. I think one of the main reasons is because patients are starting to take control of their own health and look into, how can they feel better, look better, and, so they've kind of landed on peptides for part of their health journey and seeing such amazing results. So it's just like snowballing and the word's getting out there. So peptides is just a category of medicine. They are strands of amino acids in a very specific sequence to do a specific job. And anything under 50 amino acids is considered a peptide. Anything over 50 is considered a protein.
Okay.
Proteins break down to amino acids and then into peptides and amino acids. So our body has at least 7,000, peptides in our body. The most common one people know about, may not even know it's a peptide, is insulin. Our body makes insulin unless you're type 1 diabetic. So type 1 diabetics will give themselves insulin, signal to the cell, take glucose in for energy and cellular metabolism.
So the insulin that people have already been giving themselves for years is a peptide.
Yeah. And the insulin in our body's a peptide. Collagen's a peptide. There's certain medications, certain blood pressure medicines that are peptides. So again, it's just kind of, so the ones that people are buzzing about and hear about, are, there's several that are, being used, and they can be for several different categories. So anything from inflammation, recovery, repair, longevity, there's aesthetic ones, wound healing, sports, a lot of sport. I see a lot of athletes. There's a lot of good, indications there. Cognition, brain health. I mean, the list goes on and on. We can say that forever, but yeah. So anyway, so they're good. So it's like your body recognizes them as something they already know. It's just a signal to the cell to do a specific job, and so like as we get older, one of the hallmarks of aging is, cellular senescence. Our cells don't do what they did when we were younger. So this is kind of like giving ourselves back something that it should already there, or a reminder to the cell to function the way it used to. Like all the GLP-1s, those are peptides. Right. And those activate, a certain receptor on the cell to use glucose more efficiently. So it improves insulin sensitivity. And of course, weight loss is a part of that too. But on a cellular level, that's what it does.
But this is not a new science at all.
No, this has been around forever. I mean, even GLP-1's been around for 10 years. They're just, taking off certain ones,
And that's why I wanted to say that, because this has been around for a long time. It's not like a new science.
Yeah, insulin's been around forever.
Yeah, it's not like we just created this in the lab and now we're like, let's shove this out of the public.
Exactly. And it's a good question you said in the lab. So, some of the peptides I prescribe are, they're all made in the lab in this very, controlled environment. But some of them are ones we make ourselves. Like, again, I don't prescribe insulin necessarily, but like BPC 157, our body naturally makes that in a gastric mucosal lining. Well, it's really, if you make it in the lab to match our body's natural one, it helps with inflammation, repair, wound healing, skin, collagen production, neuroinflammation, so all sorts of things. So, and there's other that have been synthetically made in the lab that our body doesn't naturally make, but it does a really good job of enhancing, like the GLP-1s. Even though we have receptors in our body, some people give those, and so it's not naturally made in our body, but it activates receptors that it recognizes as part of a normal process.
Yeah, love that. And so it's funny you're saying this is kind of like, our body stops doing what it needs to.
Right. It slows down or doesn't respond as well. Right. Yeah, there's different.
And so when you say that, I think about, like, of course, you have a background in spine surgery too. And I've seen a million spine people over the years. But it's like, if we could figure out a way to make the disc continue to be liquid.
Right.
That'd be amazing.
That would be, that'd be like the holy grail, right? Yeah. I mean, it's almost like with the GLP-1s and obesity, that's changed the face of, but yeah, so with the spine, of course, I've thought a lot about that because I've worked in spine for so long. There's no like peptide to regenerate the disc, but there's a lot of modalities here. Like there's some evidence that hyperbaric oxygen can help improve degenerative disc disease. And if somebody has a degenerative disc or spinal stenosis and like on their MRI, their X-ray, but they're not symptomatic, then, well, worry about it. You can live a
Right.
good functional life. So that's where peptides may not grow your disc back or, you know, undo your stenosis, but it can make your symptoms and your functional mobility significantly better. So you can go walking and hiking and spend time, with your
Yeah.
grandkids and that sort of thing. So and then you do the proper, measures to help prevent that from getting worse, like work with a physical
Yeah.
therapist and have a good diet and that
Yeah.
sort of
Well, it's
thing.
funny because you say that because that's what I usually tell people. They say, okay, I have arthritis. How is
Right.
this helping? I'm like, well, we're going to strengthen the muscles around that
Correct.
joint
Support. Yeah.
and it's going to support it better
Yeah.
because we can't do anything. I can't cut you open and fix the joint.
Correct.
You
Right.
can, but you don't want to.
Right.
And so let's do the strengthening. So, which
Yes.
is why peptides come in because now we can strengthen you. Now we can do dry
Yeah.
needling. We can do red light or hyperbaric, which
Yes.
y'all have here, and it looks amazing. And then we can do the peptides.
Right. Now, if somebody has arthritis, which I mean, is it, almost everybody has some degree of it. Um, I always tell patients like, what is arthritis? I'm like, well, it's inflammation of the joint. Well, if it's not inflamed, then yeah, it may still be degenerative, but it's not going to bother you. So if strengthen your muscles, work on functional mobility. But there are some compounds, one especially called like pentasen polysulfate, that is actually can help reverse arthritis to some degree. So there's a lot of research in that, and it's pretty compelling. It's actually in stage 3 clinical trials right now for knee osteoarthritis. It's approved in other countries as a drug. It's actually FDA approved drug that's used for overactive bladder, but it's much smaller doses are found that it helps rebuild the cartilage and things like
Wow.
that. So I've had some really good results for people who are kind of in it for the long game, who want to avoid surgery. They can avoid knee
Yeah,
replacements.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so then I think about on the dry needling side, knee osteoarthritis is one of the most researched for needling.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so get somebody that's peptides, have do needling sessions a couple times a week for a little while, and then a maintenance program or something, and
Yeah.
just use all
Right.
that together.
Yes. Now, if a patient is committed to putting in the work, um, you absolutely can improve your quality of life and function and not have to have surgery. In most cases, of course,
Right.
fractures and things are different,
Right.
but I mean, yeah, the therapy, proper diet, strengthening, peptides, it goes a long way. And it may not be overnight, but it's doable
Yeah.
for sure.
I think what I've enjoyed about the peptide conversation, because it's really just probably in the last year, I've really kind of been
Hmm.
turned onto it and
Right.
thought, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. But every medical doctor I talk to in town,
Hmm.
all the things I see, it's all positive. I
Right.
mean, of course, there's people that something happened, right? There's
Right.
always going to be an exception to the
Yeah,
rule.
there's always outlier.
There's always outliers,
Right.
but for the most part, it's
For the most
safe,
part. They've
it's
done
helpful.
ton of research. Most of them are safe. The key to the safety aspect is to meet with, a practitioner who is well versed or, peptide certified, and gets those and sources them from the correct place. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there about research peptides, and a lot of people are out there buying them. Those, I just absolutely cannot recommend because there's no regulations. You don't know the potency, the purity, and a lot of them have, heavy metals or
Mm.
even things called lipopolysaccharides, which can cause significant damage. So yeah, they may be more expensive. People can get them and play around with them, but that's not anything that's recommended in the medical world.
Right.
But getting from a good pharmacy and practitioners prescribing for the patient for what they need, the dose and the timing is crucial. And they aren't like magic wands on things,
Right.
but like if a patient can really get all a lot of patients come to me, they're like, I sleep good, I eat right, exercise, my, all the things, get sunlight. Why am I so tired all the time? Well, that's where peptides can come in and like blow your mind and like
Yeah.
fill in the gaps and
Yeah.
like change your life, because that's when we go into like mitochondrial repair. I mean, that's kind of where I was a few years ago. I was, working really hard, raising a family. I mean, lab work's perfect, exercise 2 hour and a half a day. I mean, I've always eaten, dietitian before I was a PA, I eat super clean. Had no sleeping amazing, no clue I was so tired. And I finally delved into all the mitochondrial repair. It's like the lights came on, it's like my whole life's changed.
Yeah.
So, and I've helped so many people with just that example. But, a lot of people have issues with sleep. I mean, peptides can get you off the Unisom and
Yeah.
all that stuff and make your sleep, because sleep is one of the most foundational things for health,
Yeah.
for recovery, repair,
Absolutely.
musculoskeletal, your brain, I mean, everything, immune system.
Yeah. I think I just saw somebody new before I came up here to do this, and that was one of the first things I said, how do you sleep?
That's
They're
the
like, I'm
first
sleeping great. I'm
question.
like,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
If you're not
exactly.
sleeping good, we can wait.
Just
We're just
start
going to waste
there.
all this.
Right. And yeah, exactly. You probably see the same. Like some people come to me like, oh, I don't sleep good, I don't eat good. I'm like, we can throw peptides all day and you might feel better for a little while, but the background noise is going to
Yeah.
throw its head. So when I meet with patients, we work on the pillars first. And if they don't have those, then, I do everything I can to support them. And, and it is sometimes depending on patients' genetics or lifestyle, it can be a work sometime, but it definitely pays off,
Yeah.
and we can live a lot longer than we used to, and our not only can we live longer, but our quality of life, our health span is so important. I mean, there's so much research out there about, accelerated aging at certain decades, and then most people at 80 kind of like fall off this cliff, but that doesn't have to happen.
Yeah.
There's.
I know somebody asked me yesterday if I wanted to live to be 90. I was like, not if I'm not healthy.
Right, yeah, we don't.
If I can think and move, then yeah, I'm
Yeah,
happy.
and sticking with the trajectory we're on, I mean, absolutely will. I
Yeah,
mean, so there's absolutely a way to do that. I
absolutely.
mean, yeah.
Okay, so you talked about peptide trained or certified.
Absolutely. Yep.
Talk about that because I want to go to somebody that knows what they're doing.
For sure. Not to recommend that because there is so much. It's like the wild, wild west in a way. I mean, there's so much on the internet and stuff. So, yeah, there's different certification courses. I did mine through the SSRP, which is fabulous. It's extensive training courses and then of course an exam. But it's not like you just take the test and you're like, okay, I'm good to go. I mean, there's so many peptides that's in the patient specific. So I do so much continuing training. It's like that was just like the first step. I
Right.
mean, I'd go to the conferences 2 or 3 times a year. I'm reading, I'm listening to journals. I mean, it's like on a daily basis, I'm probably spending, I mean, I would say on average, I have to spend 2 hours a day of continuing education personally to stay up on things, and if I don't know, I delve into the research and try to
Okay.
find the best. And I have a really good network of pharmacists, peptide pharmacy network that I can reach out to a pharmacist with any questions. I pay like a monthly fee
Yeah.
to be able to access that, and so we can. If I have any questions about side effects, dosage timing, or if a patient response or a clinical case is really complicated, then these great minds get together, and so it's a really good. It's a niche, but it's
Yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Good. Because I think I mean, I've been out of PT school for 17 years. There's a real easy, it's like I don't need to study anything anymore. I've been doing this.
Right.
I can rehab a knee or whatever.
Right.
But like that's the people I want to see, the ones that are spending hours researching
Right.
and learning and continuing to get
Right. Because
better.
it's constantly
Yeah.
changing. I mean, it changes so fast. I mean, just for example, look at the semaglutide that was like this, and then tirzepatide, and then retatrutide's coming up, and then now they're about to come out with the oral one. I mean, that's just one example, but that just is constantly, it's just evolving, and like the research is, I mean, blowing up on peptides,
Sure.
especially in for human studies, because most 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it's like mostly animal research, of course, like most things start. So the human data is like just like coming out like by the troves. I mean, I get journal articles like in my email, like tons of them every single day. And I have to sift through and figure out which ones I want to read.
Yeah.
But it's pretty impressive.
And I mean, it's something that comes up. Like I'm now on social media, I'm seeing reels about it. I'm seeing
Yeah,
videos on YouTube. I'm seeing articles. I mean, it's coming up a
it's coming
lot.
up. Yeah,
And it seems like just a year ago, I barely knew any of this.
right,
And I don't know much at all about it, which is why I'm talking to the expert.
right, right.
But there's so much
It's
coming
yeah,
out.
it's funny you say that because I have so many like with Instagram, and I'm not on TikTok, but a lot of people are. And I have so many friends and people and colleagues who like see something, they'll screenshot it and text it to me and go, "Do I need to be on this peptide? Do I need this one?" I mean, that happens like every single
Yeah.
day, and I'm like, "Well, it's not that simple, We just gotta,
Yeah.
So
And then I've had conversations with a few people like, yeah, I just ordered a bunch of that offline. I'm like,
I know. That's what I'm like. Oh, like I'm like, I appreciate your excitement about
yeah,
peptides and your openness to try new things, but it needs to be, yeah, curated and done the right way.
yeah,
I mean, so like if a patient comes see me, I sit down with them, we go through medical history, any recent labs. If you don't have labs, I get the ones that you need. We go through everything, and then we kind of custom based on patients' medical history, goals, and everything, kind of curate what would be the best program for them right then. So, you hear about stacks probably. Some
mm,
peptides pair well together. Not everybody needs a stack. Some need one. Some are injectable, some are, nasal sprays, there's topical creams, there's like troches. I mean, it's just there's depends. Patients always ask me like, well, do I have to, what is it? And just depends on the peptide and what it's for. And the other question I get like all the time is like, do I need to be on these forever? And it's like, that's also just kind of like a blanket statement, not necessarily depends on what, but most of the time they are cyclical depending on what, because hopefully we kind of repair the cell, the underlying mechanism that is the underlying problem, and then then you have to cycle off of it, and we've repaired the issue. And life evolves and there's seasons, so
mm,
things might kind of you might get have some mitochondrial dysfunction. We get it rocking and rolling, and then you may get hit with COVID and be exhausted, and then we have to kind of start back a little bit, but you're not as bad as you were if you didn't do it.
yeah,
So it's like just health maintenance.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
which,
like
yeah,
driving a car from 1980. You're not just gonna keep. You gotta
right.
fine tune it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why it's important to have someone that you trust that knows what they're
Mhm.
doing and
Yeah.
knows you.
Yeah.
which is why it's important to, I think, to see the same people, medical professionals,
Yeah.
and not see a different provider every time you go.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get to know my patients extremely well. Like, I mean, it's like almost like a family. Yeah. I
yeah,
love it. I mean, it's been such a rewarding career. I mean, it's probably the same with you. You go in their
yeah,
homes and work with them, and I just feel like I want every patient to feel like they can reach out to me anytime. Like we're
right.
just, I'm like, please do not call or text me anytime or
Yeah,
call me because I want to know if you have a question or a dosing issue or whatever. Like
yeah.
I'm on it,
Yeah, and I tell people that, with my concierge service, I'm like, if you need something, call me or text me. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what time it
Yeah.
is.
Don't guess. Like,
Don't
just
get.
please call me.
And
Yeah.
they're like, well, it's physical therapy. I'm like, yeah, you're right, and you're probably not going to have a lot of questions at midnight. But
No.
like, I've had somebody call me and say, hey, my wife's on the floor at 3 a.m.
Please. Yeah.
Can you come get her up? And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, does she need to go to the hospital? No, she's not hurt. I just can't get her up. I'm like, I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah.
And I haven't done that for everybody, but those are things sometimes that comes up.
Especially if you build that relation with that person,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what I love that about where medicine is going. I mean, it's not all the way there yet, but there are definitely some niches, and it's more than it used to be. I mean, it's kind of going back to way things were way,
Yeah.
my great grandfather was a physician, people would give him pass for payment because he couldn't,
Yeah.
they couldn't afford to pay. So it's like the patient is part of the plan.
Right.
It's not just like us telling them
Yeah.
this is what you need to do. It's like, no, this is like a synergistic relationship, and that's when patients really experience the awesome results.
Yeah, I think, I think at this point, there's probably about 25 to 30 concierge direct primary care physicians in
Yeah, that's
Shreveport
awesome.
Bossier.
Yeah.
And just 8 years ago, there was only two.
Yeah, I know. It's so
And
awesome. I
so
mean,
it's great.
patients want that. They want
Yes.
access to their physician and they want personalized medicine, which is how it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
as you know, I mean, things aren't black and white. It's medicine's art, and you gotta,
Yeah.
and same with physical therapy. You don't have one protocol for a patient with,
Right.
recovering from a knee. You have to like treat that person for exactly where they are in that stage of life.
Yeah. And this style of medicine, too, lends itself to taking better care of people because
Mhm.
you're not overworked. You're
Right.
not. You said you check on the pillars first. So how
Mhm.
important is that for you to say, hey, we need to get your sleep, we need to get your food, your exercise,
Oh,
all that?
that's paramount. Yeah, like so. Yeah, peptide. Like I said, they are amazing at what they do, but a patient's got to kind of have the foundationals, and so I work on that significantly. In most patients, that happens pretty quick, and so and peptides can help support them while they're doing that process. Um, but if a patient has seen a doctor for 4 years and they call me, they're like, "Hey, can you come for peptides?" I'm like, well, no, we you really, we gotta kind of at least
Got to get a
the
baseline.
baseline. And I will do full lab panels and stuff like that, but they need to be at least, established with the medical provider at some point to make sure. And the other thing's important for peptides to work well and at their, highest level would be, make sure hormone optimization, that's important too. So, and that's different for everybody. That's not a one thing. And some people, but that's another thing that I kind of work on with patients too, men and, women.
Yeah,
So,
that's something I'm really getting into right now is, most of my business I focus on women over 50. So we're
yeah.
perimenopausal, menopausal.
Oh
So
yeah.
like just that's a whole nother world,
Whole nother world.
but
Yeah.
that most people ignore.
We got ignored forever.
Yeah.
And thank goodness now the dialogue is
Well, they just
open.
took the black box off of the,
Thank
yeah,
goodness. Yeah, huge disservice to women's for decades. I mean, yeah, we can go to whole different podcasts about that, but that's huge. I mean, it's a game changer. And then, it's like says most of our people are over 50. I mean, muscle is our largest, endocrine gland organ, and it's the most important thing for longevity. And it's like your health savings account. I tell patients like you have to focus on like body composition. It's not the scale, the weight, it's the body
yeah,
composition, skeletal muscle mass. I mean, as I've worked in hospital for 20 years, I've never seen a sick person with good body composition, you know, dying in the
yeah,
hospital. I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, only if they had like an acute injury
Right.
trauma, right? But not like UTI or
Yeah,
sepsis or anything you see. And that is, you just don't see it
yeah,
because their immune system's better, they heal better. I mean, it's just, and I don't care if they're 45 or 95,
yeah. If you
So
have muscle, you're going to survive probably.
mhm, yeah,
Yeah.
good health. And so it's not that complicated,
No.
Yeah.
So, I love, so I know y'all have the Outlive book by Peter T. out
Yeah,
here.
he's awesome.
And I tried to read it, and but I listened to it. So,
Yeah.
and I love it. But one of like definitively, we know exercise
Hmm.
and muscle mass are
Yeah,
two of the keys to living long and
correct.
healthy.
So zone two exercise, strength training, and then a little bit of high intensity, so sprinkled in for the VO2 max to be high is good, like 6 to 7 minutes, a few times a week. But yeah, I mean, it's not hard. I mean, I say it is hard. It's not complicated. The equation's easy, right? Adequate protein, good quality protein intake, strength training. I mean, those are like non-negotiable things to live, of course. And the other side of the coin is like avoiding, ultra processed foods and things like that. But as far as like that side of the coin is like, the strength training is key.
So let's talk about this. So peptides are great. You're doing that. How does that integrate here at the Longevity Center with the other services that y'all have?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, the longevity center is amazing. It's like the perfect synergistic fit for peptides. I mean, we have, of course, the IV services, which most of my patients who I see for peptides usually, because one modality is not going to like give you, is not everything. Just like you can't just walk and live a long life, walking strength training. So, depending on what patient's phase or what they're going through, there's so many things here to support like what's happening. Like if I have a patient with I had a patient with a kidney laceration, and so I immediately came in for peptides. I'm like, well, you really need to do the hyperbaric, and his recovery was incredible. So that was good. And then I have some people detoxing I have a lot of long COVID, and there's a lot of things that can help with that other than the peptides, but the IV services and then the red light therapy. So it works so well together because this all again goes back to the cell. Red light therapy helps activate the cytochromes electron transport chain, which that's what I'm working on the cell for ATP and NAD production. So hand in hand, I mean, it's like a beautiful marriage of the two. So
I believe in red light so much that I bought a really nice blanket to take to people's homes.
That's awesome.
And it's the most expensive thing I own for my therapy practice.
It's worth it.
But I love it, and because of it increases the ATP production.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Well, do you want to move? Yeah. Well, then you have to have ATP."
Yeah, right.
And so
right.
they're like, "Oh, cool." So we do that.
That's awesome.
And,
it's a really good win for sure. It's not like a quick fix, but it definitely, there's red light, green, yellow light, different penetrations for different reasons, but it's good for energy, inflammation, pain, recovery, detoxing, depending on what patient's goals are. Post-surgical recovery, things like that.
And you'll have the cryotherapy here. I've been in that before years ago, and
awesome.
it feels amazing.
Yeah, so cryotherapy, it's like cold therapy, similar to like cold plunging, but different, and obviously getting wet, and then the nitrogen. That has a lot of different modalities. It's a mitochondria uncoupler, meaning it helps you make more mitochondria, which is awesome. I mean, mitochondria is what we want to. Again, skeletal muscle mass is your health currency. Mitochondria is in the muscle, and that's why your skeletal muscle mass is. Okay, so so it helps you make more mitochondria, which is hard to do as we get older. And it, of course, recovery, repair, boost immune system. But one of the cool things about the cryotherapy, a lot of people don't think about, it's really good for like mental health too, because it activates your sympathetic nervous system, your adrenaline, which norepinephrine, epinephrine, your fight or flight. And then that surges your dopamine, which your dopamine is that hormone that's like motivation, drive, feel good. And nowadays, a lot of people get quick dopamine fixes from looking at their phone, and it drops off. This is a long-lasting surge of steady dopamine that is pretty awesome. I know, I love it too.
I love where we are because we're not just throwing medication at people anymore. We're saying, hey, sunlight's great, but if you can't do that, here's the red light. And oxygen is amazing. I tried to get one of my patients come over here who has a wound for the hyperbaric. And I don't think she did, but I'm like, it will help you so much. Like, go get this.
We'll have so much for wound healing. Hyperbaric's amazing for wound healing, and then there's some really good peptides to help with wound healing as well.
So is there any story or like patient success that you can think of right now that you're just like, hey, this person came in, we did peptides and they saw this result?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I mean, I've had I had a patient with alopecia, and I did all the blood work, started on a supplement regimen and immune modulating peptides to help, and then hair grew back completely, no problems.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
I know, within pretty quick. I need to been to dermatologist, been to
so that's
Texas, Dallas. Right. So you treat it from a cellular level to fix the immune system problem that was causing alopecia in the first place. It's not just trying to make your hair grow with topical things, Gosh, I've had patients come to me just like in despair, like there's no energy, no drive, nothing, and like just turn the lights back on and energy and can like live a healthy life, And then I had one guy, he's in his early 40s, kind of tired, overweight, no drive. And then we got his supplements dialed in, got his labs fixed. And like within 3 months, I mean, he went from being like pre-diabetic to like perfect blood work after 3 months, and he's like so grateful. He texts me like all the time.
Yeah, but he does.
Thank you so much. And we still have more kind of, now we're doing some other, now that all got some of that energy stuff prepared, we're working on other things, kind of like muscle building and things, so it's just, he's so excited, like has a different like lease on life
Yeah, and
now.
I think, so of course there's the purists that are like, oh, you're cheating, go do what you're supposed to do, eat right, exercise,
That
whatever.
can only take you so far sometimes.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and plus, I mean, we're busy.
We're
Like,
busy.
I have two kids, they're
Yeah.
11 and 13.
Right.
One of them's just started baseball and it's every day and on Saturday too.
Right.
And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
so we have things to do. Plus I have to
Yeah.
work.
When I
And
tell patients, I'm like, it's not you, it's your cellular, it's your cells.
yeah,
Like we gotta get them functioning how they're supposed to be. So
and it's okay to have help.
absolutely. Oh my God. And that honestly, and the people probably say the same thing to you. People are so nervous, come in like kind of same way, like just need help. And then like I'll get like cards in the mail from patients like, thank you so much. Like and I cannot believe I didn't come sooner. Like this is, it's really rewarding.
Hmm.
I mean, it really is. It's just, and you can't help everybody, but you do the best you can and you help a lot of people.
Yeah, I used to have this thing I tell people is this was really when I worked in Health South and when I was in acute care a lot was people were just so down because they're,
Yeah.
you see people,
Yeah.
they're sick, they're really
Right.
sick. And I'm like, look, everybody needs help
Oh,
sometimes.
for sure.
This is your turn.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know you've helped somebody.
Yeah.
Let us help you.
Well, let's help you. That's so true. It is hard for people to ask for help, but it's important, like you said. I mean,
All right. So how do people get on your schedule? Where y'all located? All that good stuff.
so the Longevity Center, we're on Line Avenue, directly across the street from Harrison Paint. It's been there forever. And they can just call our office. We also have a website. So the number's 318-531-2532. The website's like TLC Shreveport. I think that's
.com.
.com.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, and then, but yeah, they can email, call. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And then if somebody ever needs like a later appointment, we can kind of work with patients on that. But
Super laid back environment. Nothing to be
yeah,
nervous about.
yes, people, yeah, anybody can come see us. We don't take insurance. We're cash only. That's but it's actually kind of nice. Patients, like that too, have to deal with the hassle of insurance. But yeah, it's almost like people just come, they love it here. They come hang out, get an IV, and
Yeah.
we get to know everybody. It's just fun. It's a good,
beautiful place.
great place. Yeah.
Awesome. Elise, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been really fun. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Shreveport Bossier Local Lens. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast to help us spread the word about the amazing people in our community.